Hi there, I'm Sergey from FinalBiome, and in the next 15 minutes I'm going to show how FinalBiome works. FinalBiome is a platform-as-a-service solution which offers game developers deployment on the backend of the game without developing, supporting, and maintaining servers, associated costs, and it has no code. What does this mean? In general, a game consists of three parts: game engine, which is the user interface of the game logic, and storage of the game state, which both are the backend of the game. FinalBiome takes over all the backend and associated computing resources, support, and maintenance. How does it work? We developed the blockchain, which executes the game logic and stores the state of the game. Game engine, in turn, only shows the current state of the game. Any FinalBiome game uses the resources owned and managed by the gamers. The game assets are subdivided into fungible and non-fungible. Fungible assets are non-unique resources which can be spent partially and are globally used in the game, for example, gold, energy, and so on. Non-fungible assets are unique resources, one of a kind each. The game logic always assumes game interaction with NFA, comparison of two or more NFAs, their creation, destruction, or consolidation. Any actions with NFA are carried out through mechanics. Mechanics is a predetermined logic which carried out the pre-programmed action with one or several assets, fungible or non-fungible. And how it all looks in practice, we need to talk about how the authorities are distributed on the platform. There are three core types of accounts: game accounts, game dev accounts, and the gamer. Game accounts is an account which is the owner of game configuration and holds the game developer accounts, which can configure the game. Other accounts are gamer accounts. They can be owners of game asset and can manipulate them. Neither game account nor game dev account can be an owner of assets, which means they can change the state of the game around game rules. Okay, let's move to the practice. For example, take the game with well-known rules: rock, paper, scissors. We'll have two kinds of fungible assets in it: energy and diamonds. Energy will be used as a currency in which gamer will be paid to start a game. And diamonds can be considered as score points. If you win, you get diamonds. Also, we need one non-fungible asset, let's name it bet, which will be configured to be able to be purchased by gamers for an energy, and it can be used in the probability mechanics, which as a result of success, he will generate diamonds. So a gamer for an energy will buy an NFA bet, execute the probability mechanic with that NFA, and with probability equal to 1/3, get diamonds. In the user interface of the game, we'll see the result according to the game legend: rock, paper, or scissor. Let's do some work and configure the game logic in the FinalBiome blockchain. Starting the blockchain node. Okay, we see that the blockchain is producing the blocks and reach consensus. Let's start by creating a game. Let's set some predefined accounts. Of course, I can create a new one and use it, but for simplicity, I'll use a predefined one. Let's take Bob account and make it a game called RPS. And now Bob can do only one thing: manage members who can configure the game. Let's add Charlie as a member of this game, after which Charlie can set up game assets. All other actions will be done on behalf of Charlie. Other accounts are not authorized to do so. Let's create a diamond FA. It doesn't have any special settings other than the name. Great. Now we'll create energy FA. According to our intention, it will be a currency in which gamer will be paid for the game. But if the energy is only spent, the gamer will eventually spend everything and will not be able to pay anymore. Therefore, for energy, let's take that it is an auto-recoverable asset. And not to grow endlessly, we will limit it, say, at level 60. This is the maximum threshold up to which energy is restored. Okay, fungible assets are done. Now we'll set up an NFA. We'll create a bad NFA. This is a class from which instances are created by the game via some mechanics. Here we can add any attributes if needed, and all these attributes will be inherited by the NFA instance. For example, some visual properties like color or some quantitative properties, anything that can be needed for the game logic. For our cases, it's not needed. And now we should configure the logic by which this NFA can be used. Logic of using NFA is defined by its characteristics, which we will be configuring. Firstly, we need gamers to be able to buy this NFA. For that, we define a characteristic called purchased, which says for how much and what FA you can buy an instance of this NFA. This is defined by offers. There can be several with different prices and different FAs. In our cases, one is enough. So gamers can buy an instance of that NFA for 20 points of energy. Now, let's move on to a more difficult characteristic, better. It defines that an instance of that NFA can be used for random drop of assets, both fungible and non-fungible. Outcomes holds a list of outcomes which can be realized with defined probability. There can be any number of them, but in our case, we need just 3. Gamer won, gamer lost, or there was a draw. Probability of each of them is set as a share of sum of all existing probabilities. Also, each outcome has a result. In our cases, everything is quite primitive, but in more complicated cases, we can define multiple wins and losses, which can be important in view of the game logic and presentation in the game interface. Okay, next we said that will be the payoff in the game if the outcomes was winning. It can be any set of fungible or not fungible assets. For our purpose, we set it as 10 diamonds and 20 points of energy. Great. In the next step, we said that there will be 5 rounds, which means that the final result will be defined after 5 rounds. And also which behavior will be in the draw cases. And one more thing, usually when gamers sign up into the game, they already have some set of assets to start the game. In our case, we should give some energy for each new gamer. It's done in the onboarding section. Let's give 60 points of energy for each new gamer. Great. Let's play. We have already built some UI for the game and wrote a piece of code to get current balances of assets owned by the user and send commands in order to run 2 mechanics for buying bad asset and for using this bad asset in the mechanic which randomly drops some asset. Our final step of configuring the game is linking asset that will be created to the game. Here in the code, we've associated the game assets with their respective IDs. And the game UI, we can see blockchain events that occur at the time of some actions. Let's start the game. I don't have any energy. Let's see the events. Bad origin, right? I started to play on behalf of Charlie, but Charlie is the manager of the game and he can't play the game. Let's try to play as Alice. Okay, now we see that Alice has 60 points of energy, which we issued when Alice onboarded the game. It happens only one time for each account. Now let's play to the end and then look under the hood. Great, I lost. Let's start a new one and see what happens. When we push the play button, we start the game. Under the terms of game configuration, we purchase the bet asset at the price of 20 points of energy. Let's push the button. Okay, energy decrease, and in the events section, we can see that some mechanics has been executed. To be specific, the purchase mechanic for 20 points of energy gives Alice the bet NFA, which will be used next in an attempt to win an award. Okay, when we select some arms in the UI, the command to execute the mechanic goes to the blockchain. The mechanics is executed and stops because we configured it 5 rounds before the bet, and if I will drop some assets. Next time when we select the arm, the upgrade mechanic command goes to the chain, and the chain returns a result which the interface interprets to the game result. If the game is over, then a bet mechanic finishes and some kind of rewards drops out. Or not if we lose, bet NFA will be burned and a gamer will remain with some asset balance. That's it. We've configured the game on the blockchain without a single line of code, and gamers can own assets with day one. All game logic is calculated in the chain, and any manipulation of the assets goes on behalf of the gamer. Thanks for watching. How FinalBiome works.